Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Idle Stand Nation. Today is 9th of February 2019. We have with us another episode with,
Order.
and Bang unfortunately could not join us today, so it will just be the two of us.
Yep.
So,
We'll try to keep it interesting as best as we can.
yeah, so on to that first topic. What you got, Aura?
Yeah. So it's basically an ongoing topic. Sashihara Rino, she announced her graduation a couple of months back, and she should be graduating soon. So, I thought I should bring that topic up with Sashihara Rino. Her graduation is about to happen, and with Nako and Sakura being part of Aizuwan, they're not allowed to attend her graduation because of obviously conflicting schedules, but also because of like contracts. And it's something that happened recently with Yuri from Film is 9, where she couldn't basically do Film is 9's activities.
Yeah, with Dugan Dugan, she wasn't in, well, the English title being DKDK. She was nowhere to be found in that video. I pulled it up and there was only eight
Yeah,
members.
her activities for that was paused. I know for 101 there was a member. I don't remember his name. Uh, but he was part of a group. Um, that his activities were paused for those 2.5 years for that group. So something that I did notice is that doing this PD 101 or whatever, your activities are put on pause. And
I mean, that makes sense because they live in a dorm. And was it, I remember watching through Produce 48 and Idol School. They were living in the dorms, but they had like maybe what, one day out of the week
I
off to
I I think
relax and
so.
whatever.
It was Hwang Min Hyung for 101, uh, where he was part of newest. So yeah,
Ah,
he was part of newest. Went on to produce 101 season 2, and became the 101 member. So his activities with newest were put on halt to basically do 101. So, I mean, obviously everyone who puts their activities on pause has to finish their activities within the group that they already had scheduled beforehand. Because I think Yuri had some kind of fan sign or something during Produce 48. I don't remember.
yeah, I'm not too. I can't remember. I remember because I remember she had brought it up before too in the middle of the show,
Yeah.
in the middle of Produce 48.
And then I know the AKB members, they all had their things where they had concerts, they had handshake events.
Yeah, they had their group activities.
Yeah, so they had to fly back to Japan every so often to do those activities. And so, like how we saw with Nako, she wasn't in Korea when she first got moved from F class to A class. She had to find out
Oh
via
yeah,
that
yeah,
call.
that's right. Yep, they had the what was the word, like teleconference call her or something.
Exactly, and
It wasn't just her too. It was who else was it?
it was all of them.
Oh, all the HKT members.
Yeah, all of them had, because it was also in the middle of, I think, Senbatsu, uh,
Hmm.
where basically all the girls get ranked and whatnot. And Jurina, that was the performance where she passed out in the middle of a performance.
Oh, she passed out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, she
like
like she if I remember right, she had a fainting spell. Um,
so not just like collapsed, but she like no kidding like passed out.
she either she collapsed or no. Okay. Um. So she collapsed and started crying, from what I'm reading. So
Crying because she
she
collapsed on stage,
I
or
so some
was it
say
pain?
some of the sources are saying Okay, so I see photos of her crying while they are carrying her off stage because she collapsed.
Right. So it was tears of regret for collapsing on stage, and not tears of like pain.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's so the and obviously we talked about this in the last episode where flying sucks, from country to country. Flying sucks, but having to do that for a show constantly over a 4 month period, that definitely puts a lot of strain because what from Japan to Korea, that's got to be 2 maybe 3 hours of flight.
It's really well. It's really more like an hour and a half.
Huh.
But even then, you're still spending that much time cramped in a enclosed, a tight enclosed area with the same people. So you're getting all their germs and whatnot. And if you're already tired, then your immune system's already gonna be compromised.
Yeah,
Well, I don't mean like compromised as in like you don't have an immune system at all, but like, yeah, you're already gonna be your immune system is already gonna be weakened if you're already stressed and tired, and then you're gonna go into that kind of environment in a closed and tight area, enclosed area that's tight, with 100 other people, getting all of their germs as well. Which again, the stuff's probably not. It's probably harmless,
yeah,
but your body's not gonna recognize it. Therefore, it's gonna go into like overdrive. Like, I don't know what this is, but I need to kill it and to get it out of the body.
yeah. And it doesn't help that. So elections, at least from my experience, they're already stressful enough for the members because they don't know where they rank. They don't know how, like, if they moved up or down in popularity, because it's
Right.
definitely a popularity contest. Because I've seen some girls drop from like 17th place to like 50th place or something like that, and it hurts your pride. It
Oh yeah,
um
yeah, and not to mention like, if I know for a lot of these people, for a lot of these members, it kind of feels like the hard work that they put in on stage and into their activities is like invalidated
yeah. So
and underappreciated.
yeah, so yeah, definitely. That's why when I found out that Sakura, Nako, and Hitomi first became IZ*ONE members, I was like, how are they going to basically get through the activities as AKB members while doing IZ*ONE? Because for AKB promotions, you have to record, you have to learn the new dance, you have to sing, you have handshake events, you have
But
promotions, you perform almost every week in your own theater.
so now they're gonna be withheld from those activities though because of Ice One, right?
Exactly, which I was relieved at because don't get me wrong, they promoted for a little bit, especially Sakura because she was I think center or no, she was third, so she wasn't center, for the late for no way, yeah I think it was called No Way. Um, so Sakura was part of the title for that one.
Yeah, and I remember one of the things I kind of or not worried, but thought about, after the final lineup got announced was, okay, so the group's gonna exist for what, a year and a half, 2 years,
Yeah,
and then they disband, right?
yeah,
So after Eyes One disbands, what is to become of Nako, Sakura, and Hitomi, right? I was wondering, will they still have a fan base waiting for them when they disband? And looking at how well they're doing with their Japanese promotions at the moment as a group with as Eyes One,
yeah,
I think they might actually end up for the better. I think Nako and Hitomi and Sakura are going to do better in terms of popularity and recognition after Eyes One's activities when they return to their respective groups.
yeah. Because I know that. So for the Senbatsu, Nako, she went up a few places. She was originally in the 30s, but the latest Senbatsu, she entered number 9. So she went up quite a bit. So she is one of the more popular HKT members, behind Sakura. And then I don't think Sashihara participated in this latest one, but Sashihara's been pretty popular too.
Yeah, and I think I think a lot of people outside of Japan kind of overestimate how popular AKB like the AKB48 and their associated groups are.
I mean, they were stagnant, from what I've noticed over the years. Um, not to say it's bad. Um,
Yeah, it's not to say that they're not popular. It's just that they're not as big as people think they are outside of Japan.
yeah, because they do have a very loyal fan base,
A rabidly loyal fan base.
and I think that's absolutely amazing. I mean, I started waning a little bit because most of my favorite members graduated. Takahashi Minami, Kojima Haruna. There was a huge handful. If I can go for like years. If I named everyone I followed that graduated, but yeah, they have a very dedicated and loyal fan base, and that's something I loved about the community for AKB. It's their fan base was very loyal to them. So to go off of some, to go back onto the on track with how I started, with Sashihara graduating soon, and Nako and Sakura being on hiatus. The next highest person in for popularity is Miku, Tanaka Miku, uh, basically Nako's twin and best friend. She is literally right behind Nako in popularity at number 10 for HKT. So she has a lot of on her shoulders as a 17-year-old, well, 18 in Korean, but that's still pretty young.
Yeah, and I think too with Eyes One, I think they're garnering new fans
Oh yeah,
for Nako, Hitomi, and Sakura.
yeah, and not only that, but with Produce 48, a lot of the members have gained a lot of popularity as well. Like uh, Muto Tomu got a lot of popularity. Takahashi Juri,
Oh yeah, Takahashi Juri.
yeah,
Yeah, I loved her. She was great. Her along with Yena.
yeah. I, I love that part. Where like she wanted to pay back all the Korean members, trainees that helped her get so far.
Yeah, and like they, AKB and their associated groups, they did have some recognition in Korea.
Yeah,
You know, and I think through Produce 48 it also helped expand that recognition throughout Korea.
yeah,
So I think Produce 48 and Eyes One as a project has been very beneficial to the like the the AKB members really,
yeah,
and they're and all the like HKT, SKE, all of them. So I think they've been getting a lot. They've been broadening their fan base in both in Japan and Korea.
Well, with how like with how K-pop has been growing worldwide, I think it's not only just that. It's also broadening their global reach as well. Because I, unfortunately, after I want to say 2011, they started to 2011 2012 when all the like original Kami 7 members started falling off, like not falling off as in like losing popularity, but as they were graduating with Atsuko, Kojima Haruna, Takahashi Minami, Itano Tomomi, Shinoda Mariko, with all of them graduating and basically leaving the group, the younger Kami 7 members had a harder time of keeping the popularity up and running as well as they used to, because Takahashi Minami and Maeda Atsuko were probably the two biggest pillars of the group.
Yeah, and I think some of the things that's kind of held back the groups from further expanding out was the tightness of the choreography and the quality of their vocals. because I know that had been a common remark amongst like netizens from, no matter where really. It was always you know
They don't
when
they don't dance as well.
yeah,
They can't sing or whatever.
yeah, you see a lot of those remarks, and so with the members who have participated on Produce 48, they have departed. The ones that got eliminated, they did depart with a much more polished skill set, and they're bringing that back with them to the respective groups.
Yeah.
And for Nako, Hitomi, and Sakura, they're further polishing those skills, which they already had that talent. They just never really had the coaching and the training.
Exactly. Well, so
'Cause-
Sakura did have a little bit. So all the first generation members, they have some sort of training because they're the ones who started. Sakura
Yes.
did. That's why. Same with Jurina. She had some sort of training because usually the first generation members of each group have some sort of training to start things out.
She did have some training. It's just that the
The level.
of her training is not quite, because like you've seen the technical proficiencies of the other trainees in the first episode of Produce 48, right?
Yeah.
And then did you see on Sakura's channel, on her channel where she's doing the Fortnite dance challenge?
Yeah.
Like it's cute, it's funny, it's entertaining, but if you're to
Compared to others, it's
yeah, if you're to criticize it, it wouldn't exactly be a pretty criticism.
no.
And you even see some of that too with like on some of the variety show challenges where they have to do like some kind of dance challenge to some other group song, or like she may know the choreography, right?
Yeah.
But the execution, like you can tell she needs she's one of those types that needs a lot of practice for if she's gonna pick up a new choreography.
Oh, so something else I saw with comments is like, no, the polishing, they're not polished. They're diamonds in the rough,
Right.
so to say. But they had the AKB members and basically just all the AKB members and some of the Korean members, they had the heart to continue.
Yeah. Well, they had the heart to continue, as well as that stage presence.
Yeah.
The charisma, right? And that was what was mentioned of the Japanese trainees, was that they had that.
Yeah.
Well, they're not trainees. They've already debuted. So for the Japanese members,
except for Minami,
yeah, except for Minami, she was the only.
Kenkyusei.
Well, wait, was she the only? I thought. What about
Eddie, she already debuted.
Yeah.
She already.
Oh, she already. Okay.
She already.
So
Minami is still a Kenkyusei.
yeah, so besides her, like the rest of them had already properly debuted, but
Some of them only
because
debuted for a month though.
right, but they've already debuted and they've already had the experience, the actual real world experience. Like you could call them veterans of the industry.
Yeah. So with Kenkyusei, they do still are times where they perform with the full-on members. With Kenkyusei, they're basically replacement members, or so to say. Where
Yeah, they're fill-ins.
yeah, if someone's sick, they fill in.
And with the trainees, the Korean trainees, it's a lot the same where they're either backup dancers, which is not the same as being the primary focal dancer, right? The focal group.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have that peace of mind of no one's really paying attention to me. I'm really just doing this as kind of like some producers watching me. This is like an interview. I'm here as a backup dancer. This is like an interview to build my portfolio for them to decide to either pick me for further training or to make me to debut me.
Yeah.
Right. It's either that or they will guest star in a music video. They will. Sometimes they do become like temporary members, which one of the members of Daya, I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was. I think so. Eunice. She was a temporary member of Jewelry.
Yeah.
So, which doesn't really mean much because she only performed. I'm not sure how many performances, but she did at least have that experience.
Yeah.
So, but the Japanese members did have more experience on stage than the Korean trainees.
Yeah, and which is something that they definitely brought into the team dynamics. Like when the members for that got pushed to the dance team, I don't remember what the dance that they did it. I know it was by Jax. The song was by Jax.
Instruction?
Yeah, and Team Instruction. How, like, basically they called themselves the leftovers.
Yeah, wasn't that kind of heartbreaking hearing them like refer to themselves that way?
Yeah, it was, but they also did mention that the one person that kept them together was Nakanishi Chiyori, like because of how she made them laugh. I think it was because of being in AKB that really brought them together.
I mean, I think that is a factor, sure. But I don't think that's the primary reason, because like I know part of it too is personal qualities.
Yeah.
Because we saw the same thing with this vocal team with, Team Bumbaya.
Yeah.
Chowan and Haewon really helped keep their team together and pull them up.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, like the Japanese members did help pull themselves up too. So team dynamics is when it comes to team dynamics, you can't really point that to any one particular thing. It's always a confluence of multiple aspects.
Very, very true. I mean, again, I'm just going from what I like, something that they said as well, because they all do mention Nakanishi Chiyori.
She was hilarious.
Oh yeah, she was precious.
I remember when she did I'm already laughing about it, but when she did her impression of oh gosh, which mentor was it? Not Cheetah.
It was a scary one.
Yeah. but was that not spot on?
Oh yeah, and then like how she imitated Chiyori right after that.
Yeah.
That got me too. I was like, oh yeah, this is like
Yoonjeong. It was Yoonjeong.
Yeah.
It was on the lips too, right? The lips and like the eyes.
Yeah.
Like those predator eyes.
Yeah. And then basically how she imitated all the like others. I'm trying to remember his name. The male trainee.
A male trainer. No.
Lee. Yeah, Hongi. How she imitated him looking a little bit dopey. I don't want to sound mean, but he kind of did look a little dopey from her impression of him. I was like, oh.
So, going back to the original point that I was trying to make with with the members, we saw a lot of criticism of AKB members singing, like their vocal abilities and their dancing abilities, right? Or choreography, right?
Yeah.
Ability to maintain that tight choreography, and hopefully we'll see a bit more polish out of that, right? With the experiences from Produce 48 as well as Eyes One.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully that'll help bring that level up, to help kind of squash some of those criticisms, as well as broaden their global fan base.
Yeah. Cause now, especially with the Senbatsu, with Sashihara not being in Senbatsu and not being part of HKT anymore, and obviously the members who got fairly far in Produce 48, all eyes are pretty much on them. Like Takeuchi Juri graduated. I know a few other members have announced their graduation or about to graduate who were part of Produce 48. So, Produce 48 definitely gave them the confidence to move forward from the group, because I remember something that Akimoto Yasushi, the producer for AKB and all the sister groups, is that AKB wasn't meant to be a lasting group for girls to be there for a long time. It's meant to as a way to push them into the entertainment world.
Right.
But some members have been there since the get-go. Like Kashiwagi Yuki, she's been there since 2nd gen. Minegishi Minami, she's been there since the 1st gen. That is 15 years of being part of AKB, and they're the last of their generations that are still part of the group.
Yeah, and one of the things I definitely need to do a bit more research on as well is, what was the popularity and brand recognition and sales of the AKB groups, right, prior to Produce 48? Did Produce 48 actually have a tangible impact on brand recognition and popularity? And same within the existing fandom, has it done anything for the members that participated in Produce 48? That's something I'm really interested in, but data is really hard to come by.
So for me, I did fall off a little bit. Okay, I did fall off a little bit, because I fell off before Nako joined, or right when Nako joined. Nako and Miku joined, so I really didn't know them as well. I knew of them, but I really didn't know them. And then Hitomi, she never caught my radar before. I don't think I even remember seeing her. The only members I really do remember when I was watching Produce 48 was Takahashi Juri from AK Bingo, Jurina, Sakura, Takeuchi. Basically anyone from Takeuchi's generation, and I think... I also do remember Muto. But she never caught my eye because she was part of the 12th generation. So I started falling off around I want to say 10th generation, where it just started becoming harder and harder to remember everyone. Obviously, that's 10 generations of just AKB itself. But then SKE has its own generations. HKT had its own generations. Like, I think SKE is on 7th gen, and HKT is, I believe, on their 5th generation right now. And then there was also JKT, which is Jakarta. SN.
Oh yeah, Indonesia.
Yeah, and then SNH, which was Shanghai, in China.
Yeah.
So trying to keep up with all of that, and then it just became really difficult. We mentioned this in episode 1. I have a hard time remembering names. So trying to remember Jakarta, the names of the Jakarta members, the names of the Shanghai members, the names of HKT members, the AKB. I was tired. So, and then having my favorite members kind of graduate, I definitely lost interest, because it's a very loyalty kind of fan base, where if your Oshiman is basically your Oshiman, if once they leave, a lot of the people who followed those members kind of drop off. And I know for myself, I never really picked up on Sakura. I did support her. I thought she was funny in AK Bingo, but she wasn't my Oshiman. She was one of the members from HKT that I did recognize. But my bigger focus was on Sashihara, because she was an AKB member, got into a scandal, got moved to HKT, but then because she got moved to HKT, she helped HKT grow. She helped refine HKT into a better group. That's why I think the whole graduation is such a moot point, because she's so close to Sakura, whereas it sucks that Sakura can't join into this graduation ceremony, because Sashihara is the senpai. She helped Sakura in the group. And then with Nako wouldn't be part of the 48 family without Sashihara, to be honest. because Sashihara is the one who told Nako to join AKB, but because Sashihara was part of HKT, she joined HKT instead, despite living in Tokyo, and HKT is, I think, further south for Hakata.
Yeah, it's in Fukuoka, which is
It's still quite a distance from Tokyo.
yeah.
So, yeah. So having all of that, Sashihara definitely is a key factor in HKT to keep it strong. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling now at this point.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, because I'm not really into. I couldn't really get on board with AKB or any of the associated groups.
Yeah.
So.
Which for me, I did it. The PD48 definitely revitalized my interest in them, because after falling off of without my favorite members, I didn't know who to really follow because there were so many members. It's hard to keep up with every single one, but definitely with the members who were, I guess, brave enough to enter PD48 because they wanted to start over. It did revitalize my interest because they've already debuted. Most of them have already debuted, other than one. But it's basically a restart because the ones who ended up in Undergirls in the previous Senbatsu, they were still making a name for themselves, and with Aizuwan it was a huge risk because if Aizuwan failed, it would have hurt their activities because they would have been gone for 2 years.
Right.
And that is if they are because they wouldn't be active as AKB and its affiliates, and they're part of basically a failing group, it would have definitely hurt them because their fans wouldn't see them. Their fans would basically move on, despite the loyalty. The fans would still move on.
And I'm seeing that with AKB48, as of June 2018, they had sold 56 million records, which is a lot. But for a group that's been around since 2005, I feel like that's not as much as it could be.
No. Because I know that with any fandom, some fans buy multiple versions of the albums too.
Right, because I remember my wife was telling me that in order to get, a lot of fans were buying multiple albums in order to get additional votes for the Senbatsu.
Yep, I would have liked to vote in the Senbatsu, but I wouldn't have gotten a ticket to vote. Back in the day, it is what it is. But no, I'm happy that Produce 48 happened. I'm happy that now I got a new Oshiman. I would guess it would be in Nako, because in the moments I did see Nako, it was more of Watanabe Mayu fangirling over them, well, her and Miku. But those two are always paired together, by the way. So it's just weird to me not seeing them together, because you even see those two together for the hidden box.
That I love the series, to be honest. That gag.
Yeah, so AK Bingo and Running Man definitely do it a lot better in my opinion. With the hidden boxes, Produce 48, I was like, okay, that's cute. That's cute.
It's a lot more toned down, but was it AK Bingo? I did see that one episode where it had the dude's head inside of the box.
Yeah, Kuro-chan.
That was pretty disturbing, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. How he I want to say it was I think it was Akimoto Sayaka whose hand he licked.
Yeah, that's what made me cringe. That was it. So, for Gokigen Sayonara.
Yeah.
I remember you said for yourself a lot of that was a lot of what you liked about it was nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely it had a good nostalgia for me. I I like the song. It wouldn't be how because my tastes have obviously changed over the years, like anybody's. Um, it wouldn't fit the style that I would say that I listen to, but if I add in the nostalgia goggles, I'd say it. I would listen to it again. Uh, and that I liked it, just because it definitely fit what I remember. Because like Uza was a more girl crush thing, so it was like a border between cute and girl crush to me. At least that's my feel.
Yeah. Uh, Wait, Uza. That's the other. Was that the other title on the or the other B track?
No, that was a AKB track from like 2012, 2013.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of the. I think there's only one song that I really know, and that's because I had some back when I was in Japan.
Heavy rotation.
No, who was the one where it was like
Aitekata.
no, I don't know. I don't know the title to the song. I just know that like the chorus is like, "I love you, I need you, I want you," something like that.
Heavy rotation. I love you.
Yeah.
I need you.
Like I actually didn't. So my first exposure to this song was when back in Japan, I ran into my Japanese friends, and they started singing that chorus to me. I was like, what are these girls singing? It's like at first I didn't get it at all, and then I was like, okay, I didn't know what to make of it, right? That they were saying that these girls are singing these lyrics to me, and it wasn't until like later on in the evening, when I heard that song, I'm like, oh, they were singing this song. I get it now.
Yeah. To be honest, I know that song kind of got a lot of flack because the girls were in lingerie. The girls were all in lingerie, in bed, and some of them were kissing each other.
So it was really suggestive.
Yes, but they've also redone it so many times with the other sister groups, like SNH has done it, which is the Shanghai group. But they went with the more tasteful outfits, which are like the schoolgirls. Definitely more tasteful than lingerie. But yeah.
Yeah, at the moment I've been rewatching that Gokigen Sayonara performance. I still can't. I still can't.
How'd you feel about the one that got the actual MV, the Iwasetai?
Suki to Iwasetai?
Yeah, Ski. Yeah, that one.
That I liked. So for sure, like it definitely was a definitive J-pop in terms of choreography, fashion style, and the song itself, right? The musical accompaniment and all that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was well done. I watched that I think 6 times in a row because the first time I was taking it all in, right?
Yeah.
The second time, I was trying to focus in on the different members, see what everybody was doing. Same with the third time, and then by the time I spent the next like 3 watches of views, listening to the lyrics, and the lyrics may seem simple enough. The problem is for the English translations is there's a lot of things that are kind of left out because you can't exactly capture that in the translation.
Exactly.
So, for example, in the chorus, right, where they say, "Suki to iwasetai," as in like the title, right?
Yeah.
Saying it that way, right, it's translated as "say you love me."
Yeah.
Well, for an English speaker, it'll sound like a demand, right? However, the mechanics of the Japanese language, it's actually not a demand. It's more like, I want you to say you love me.
Yeah.
And so, in the middle of the song, the chorus kind of changes to, "ski to inasai," right?
Yeah.
That is that form of saying the same thing. It could be translated the same way, right? Say you love me.
Yeah.
In that form, it's not I want you to say you love me. That is more of a demand. Say you love me. Say you love me, right?
Yeah.
So because that can't be translated, you miss exactly that. You kind of miss that key part of the meaning into the song, right?
Correct.
You kind of miss that context. So from everything from the lyrics that precede that, which to be honest I can't remember the lyrics off the top of my head at the moment. There's a build up from the first half of the song up until you reach that point in the song where now, right, the musical accompaniment is getting more intense. The choreography is getting more intense. Their vocals, their vocal inflection, is also starting to get more intense.
Yeah.
As well as the lyrics. So, every bit of that song, as I was dissecting it, I liked it. It was a very engaging song.
It was.
And, you with your video editing background, I'm pretty sure you could appreciate the visuals as well.
Oh yeah. So the colors weren't like off.
The color balance.
It was
right.
It wasn't. It was very different from No, where in No there was very heavy contrast. Where this the colors definitely complemented each other, and then not having to switch between so many costumes or outfits, not costumes but outfits either. Definitely
right, and another thing too is the lack of overbearing special effects.
Yes.
Like the focal, they definitely let the girls dancing and their choreography be the focal of the music video.
Yeah, which is something I loved because it's to display the girls, not the talent of the. So I do get it from the editing standpoint. You want to display your editing prowess to definitely make sure that you can show off yourself, similar to how the girls are. But the main focus should be the artists.
The girls themselves.
Yeah.
So so that much I could appreciate with the video editing. I mentioned on the choreography, right? The choreography was also, I thought, was well done. And I was bringing up Skito Iwasetai, or you were bringing up Skito Iwasetai, which was great because I was actually wanting to use that as kind of the compare and contrast with Gokigen Sayonara. So with Gokigen Sayonara, one of the reasons why I don't like the song is, for one, the choreography is very bland. It's very two-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
The focal point, I think, is with their hand movements.
Yeah.
Which to me I kind of felt was a bit choppy with the way it was choreographed. It's not in the execution of the girls themselves. It's just from the way it's choreographed.
Yeah.
The footwork is extremely simplistic. It's just basically your basic 1-2 side to side steps. The position changes, again. The position changes from formation to formation. It's your basic line of breast formation to a V style formation or echelon formation. There's no complex formations. The position changes with the transitions. Very basic, right? And so you could argue that while the choreography is simplistic, then the focus would be on the vocals. The vocals to me, again, wasn't very technically impressive. I felt like it was the same 4 notes.
Yeah.
They were using nothing but nasal voice versus mixing it in with chest voices to emphasize parts. There wasn't a whole lot of depth in the notes that they were singing.
Well, it could also be because I noticed that it wasn't the full group. They were missing quite a few members in that song as well.
But they have some powerful vocalists in there though.
Yeah.
They have Chaeyeon, they have Chaeyeon. They're strong vocalists. Unbi is a strong vocalist.
Yeah.
So it's not that that the girls themselves were lacking talent in the song.
No.
It's not. It's just that the song itself does not showcase their talents.
Yeah.
And it's not to say I'm not saying it's a bad song.
No.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not a song that fits my taste. And that's the one thing that I'll always say is, even though I may not like a song, I'm not trying to decide for anybody that they should not like a song either.
Yeah.
They should give it a chance, for themselves. Give it a listen to it for themselves. Watch it themselves. I want people to decide for themselves, really.
Yeah.
But I'm just voicing my own opinion, and my opinion is that the performance itself is bland, from the choreography to the musical accompaniment to the vocals. Because even the musical accompaniment was very basic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, for me, it was all mostly nostalgia that gave the extra points to it. I wouldn't say it's the most amazing song out there, but it definitely was. I definitely do like it. It's just not my top favorite.
So how would it stand up if it wasn't for the nostalgia factor? If you were to remove that altogether?
If I were to remove the nostalgia, I'd listen to it in passing. Like, I'd listen to it if it came on. Like, I wouldn't go, okay, I'm gonna skip to the next song. I don't want to listen to this anymore. But I'd listen to it while I was working if it came on. But it's not something I would actively go out to listen to for myself.
Yeah, because after I watched it, it reminded me of what I didn't like about a lot of J-pop. So I'm thinking of like Perfume. Have you seen any of Perfume's performances or their songs?
I have not. I've seen Bears Kubo, I've seen Morning Musume, but while I was into J-pop, most of my time was taken up by AKB because of how big they were.
So Perfume has actually been around for a while. They've been around since 2000.
Yeah, but still, I didn't first start getting into J-pop till, I want to say, 2008, 2007, somewhere around there. So,
which is about when Perfume actually started getting their big successes, was around 2007.
Which also could be said the same about AKB as well.
Right. So your focus, your gateway and your focus was AKB. So, but Perfume, they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of their songs in passing. It will come up in karaoke. In fact, one of my Japanese friends, he absolutely loves them. And I'm certain that there is an appeal to them. I just don't know what it is, because their songs, Gokigen Sayonara is a lot like their songs in terms of the sound and the feel.
Yeah.
With the one key exception being, for Perfume, choreography is non-existent. I don't think they actually really dance per se, besides the very basic 1-2 side to side as they perform, right? Because they're not exactly like a
dance group.
An idol group, exactly. They're not like an idol group that in a sense that we know through K-pop. They're a singing trio.
Yeah.
They're a pop, just a simple pop group per se, and their vocals is highly synthesized, and that is one of the things that turns me off. It's just super synthesized.
Yeah.
You went through their songs. I don't think I've ever heard any of their songs with their natural voices.
Yeah.
And I was starting to hear a little bit of that in Goki and Sayonara, where it kind of sounded a bit synthesized to me. Am I wrong?
I couldn't really hear it myself, but I might have just missed it because I didn't, like I said, I haven't actively gone out of my way to listen to it, but I did listen to it. Because if it's a song that I'm just going to listen in passing, it's not going to be my first priority. I did listen to Suki to Iwasetai quite a few times.
Yeah. I still go on the way to listen to, because that to me is a much more engaging song.
Yeah, so definitely a different feel. It's definitely a different feel from Suki to Iwasetai.
Yeah. And it's not to say I don't like a lot of the Japanese songs either. I actually like a lot, all their songs actually on Colorize, right?
Yeah.
Which feature 3 Japanese songs on it, and I love those songs.
Yeah.
But
I think because for me, "好きと言わせたい" felt more like a Korean song to me than a J-pop song, or it felt more of closer to how La Vie en Rose is than. So "好きと言わせたい" felt more like La Vie en Rose in their style.
Really?
Yeah, for me, it felt closer to that in terms of how they would sing, while Goki Genyo Sayonara definitely felt different. It felt it I don't think it felt like an AKB song like how Ghost had mentioned in the chat before.
well, I think I said that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because so what I was going off with that when I said that, from the way the vocals are executed, the vocals are executed differently from Lobby and Rose, right?
Yeah.
They definitely use a bit more of the nasal voice,
Yeah.
as well as they omitted having a rap line, and the way they sang as well was almost. I don't want to. I don't want to be. I don't want it to be misconstrued when I say it's almost like a chant with the way they sing, in the song,
Mm.
because the way they execute their vocals is much more closer to um some of the AKB songs. Maybe not the ones you're thinking of, like not the ones that stand out most to you.
Yeah.
Um, and even with the choreography, right? The choreography is very bouncy,
Yeah. It.
which is very typical of the AKB choreography. It's very bouncy, right?
Yeah.
Except from, say, I can't think of it, but oh yeah, so at the coat when they have their coats on, right?
Mm.
Where they're not, we have the coats on, and they have their hands in their pockets, right? That was very different. Actually, I thought that was pretty cool. Like it was for me, it was just so different and so full of swag, right? And that to me is, I think that's what you're thinking of when you say like that's more closer to like K-pop.
Yeah.
So I think when they inserted that part, I think that's what kind of colored it as Korean interpretation of J-pop.
Yeah.
But when you look at the base choreography, when they're wearing their high heels and skirts and like that costume,
Yeah.
that to me is like very definitive AKB with the
Yeah.
that bouncy choreography.
The whether in the mini skirts and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was AKB
But-
for sure.
But you can definitely see that K-pop infusion with how tight the choreography is, right? The complexity of the formations and how they transition around in the formations, the balance of those formations.
Yeah, because I did notice how much more refined Sakura, Hitomi, and Nako were in these songs than in the AKB, or well, with Sakura and Nako in the HKT songs. They were much more sharper, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're as we've been saying, they're very polished.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying how like they're evolving as artists, because you can definitely tell that they want to succeed. Along with the rest of the IZ*ONE members, and I think that's so they have to work just as hard to break old habits, and because Nako's been part of had basically done 4 years of learning from her seniors, while Sakura has been learning for, I want to say the past 8 maybe 9 years, in that style.
Right.
So it's really hard to break what you've learned and change your entire style. So that's something I really admire about them too. I think that's something that also draws me into IZ*ONE, is that especially the Japanese members, is how that they are willing to change, and that's really what drew me into like Eddie and Minami
Oh yeah, they're very teachable.
Yeah.
They're very willing to learn.
Well, with those two, they not in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
Well, so for them it wasn't that they weren't teachable, that they weren't willing to learn.
it
It was just that they felt hopeless.
yeah, they definitely discouraged. Which was also why I'm glad that they weren't the members who dropped out. Uh, because there were definitely a few members who dropped out. Two of them were because of Jurina was health problems. Miku was because she got injured. But I know she got injured somehow and she had to drop out. But to be honest, I think if Miku did not get hurt, she would be on par with Nako. I think she might have made it into Eyes One instead of one of them.
Well, was she the one that you said they were like twins? They're always side by side.
Yeah,
So because of their dynamics between the two of them, wouldn't you think that they would build upon each other's popularity, that they would make the two of them together would become so popular
yeah,
among the fan base, or among the viewership, I should say,
yeah.
that they probably would have both made their way in?
No, that's what I meant. Like I meant instead of one of the other Eyes One members.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's. I didn't articulate that very well. But no, I think they both would have made it in, but someone else might have dropped out, and
So if they both would have made it in, then Chaeyeon wouldn't have made it.
yeah, which I don't like that idea either because I love Chaeyeon too, because 16 was
60, yeah.
16. That was a heartbreaking one too.
Yeah. And so earlier this morning, when I was watching Promise Nine's season finale for their Channel 9 series on YouTube,
Yeah,
Jiwon, she really won me over again. Like, she was so cute. Like, she wasn't really saying a whole lot throughout the episode, but at the end of the episode was when she like got me. And I'm like, wow. And I got to thinking, like, I don't remember her being this expressive and fun back in 16.
yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe it's because of all that stress, right, throughout 16.
So something I've noticed is because even in the few episodes of Idol School that I did see,
She was so outgoing, wasn't she?
yeah, but uh, I was also looking at Yuri and Yuri too because they ended up going to Produce 48. Same with Shion. I really didn't notice Shion as much, but with Yuri and Yuri, like they gained a little bit more confidence once they went to Produce.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, especially Yuri, because like she was so comfortable throughout Produce 48, right?
yeah, and she looked a lot more shy in Idol School.
Yeah, and she actually, her initial evaluation didn't really go over that well either.
No,
Like, she wasn't like super low, but she wasn't like high either.
no. So
And Shion was like, if it wasn't for that girl that dropped out, Shion would have been dead last.
yeah. So what something because something I've noticed it because 16 was probably one of the first, actually is one of the first survival show that I watched for K-pop. I think that might be true for some other people.
Myself included.
Yeah. And the girls who didn't make it but decided to go into another survival show have definitely become more confident.
Mm-hmm.
Nati became more confident. And
She still has such a huge following on Instagram too.
yeah. And then Jiwon became more confident. Yeonha became more confident, and then Chaeyeon became more confident going to Produce. So it's
Yep.
after experiencing one, seeing them go to the next, I think is definitely something that can definitely boost because they've done it before. They've been through
Yep.
all the like exhaustion. They've been through it once.
Yeah, and Unsa, she's been getting a bit more active on Instagram lately as well.
Who, Nati or Jiwon?
No, Unsa.
Oh, has she?
Yeah, in fact, she just posted something 5 hours ago.
I haven't been on Instagram yet, mainly because literally I woke up, started getting ready for this recording. So
Yeah, and then the same with Nati. Let's see. Oh, she had something 6 days ago, and yeah, it's got like almost 40,000 likes.
yeah,
So she still has a pretty strong fan base.
and I still feel bad because the every time I think of Nati, so after seeing her improve so much, like I was definitely on board on the Nati hype train, uh,
Yeah,
because she was still young. She was still needed a lot of polishing in 16.
yes, but she had a lot of latent, no, not latent, but she had a lot of raw talent.
Yeah, so having that polished more, like definitely helped her.
Yeah, so one of the things that came up in idol school, right? For one, her vocals had improved so much, her dancing became much more consistent,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
So she had done very well on all fronts. She could still pick up choreography, uh, pretty much immediately. Uh, what really held her back on idol school is her self confidence.
Which
So
did not. So that one scene where she talked about,
the negative comments online about her looks, right?
you know, it
Yeah, that was so heartbreaking.
like when I see, for me it's was definitely when I see all the how they kind of open up about stuff that they go, yes, I do read the comments, I do see these harsh words towards me, and it does hurt. It can it can be heartbreaking. Uh, and then for me, it's like it's sad, to be honest. It makes me mad because you don't know these girls, and just because your interests they don't fit your ideal like beauty standards, you shouldn't really call them ugly, because
Oh yeah.
they all of them are very very beautiful in their own way. Like,
Oh, they're definitely more beautiful than those people who leave ugly comments.
oh yeah, um, like Jihyo, where she lost confidence because people commented about her weight.
Yeah.
Like, what? No.
Yeah, and there was a video too where at one of the fan meets, I forgot what game they were playing, right? But when it came up for Jihyo's turn, when they're about to say like what her what she would be, some fan or somebody in the audience yelled out a bodybuilder, and that deeply hurt her. Like it caught her so off guard. She wasn't expecting it at all, and she almost instantly broke down in tears.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks.
And that's so awful.
I mean,
So,
like, if the girls themselves make the joke, like, hey, I'm a bodybuilder, ha 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 ha,
yeah,
it's fine. Because I know, so I'm going to bring it back to AKB um, for this. Akimoto Sayaka, her nickname was Gorilla. Like, and she played into that. She, like, because she was confident about herself.
yeah,
But she does mention that there were instances where it did hurt being called a gorilla. But like she Akimoto Sayaka was definitely a lot stronger in personality wise, which is something I admired about her. But seeing when she was sad about being called a gorilla really did hurt as well. Um, because she was crying. She was absolutely crying, and seeing someone strong like that break down,
yeah.
really makes you think. Like, think, how would if you were a female being called a gorilla, or if you were a female trying to be more feminine being called a bodybuilder, or being called, or any girl being called fat, it's not something you want to hear. Or being, and then to add in like the guys too, being, nobody wants to be called ugly.
So, and that's the problem though with a lot of these people that say these things, right? Is they don't think about those kind of things. They only care about what kind of rise they can get out of the individual that they are saying these things to, right? It's for their own satisfaction, whether it be for amusement or for that pride of saying I hurt somebody. They don't care about what the person receiving these comments think or feel.
Yeah.
They only care about how the person saying it feels.
I mean, again, going into the joke, or I get if the jokes that if they themselves make fun of themselves, and then if instead of if like to build on it, it's like, hey, I'm a gorilla, ha ha ha, and then like everybody makes jokes about being gorillas and whatnot. I see that as fine, but if like they're not making fun of it, they're just kind of doing their own personal thing, and then people randomly going, hey gorilla, that's where I kind of draw the line. It's like they're just doing their own thing. They're not being their entertainer self. You're treating them more as things rather than human.
Yeah, that's so that's a very large problem in society in general, right? Is the dehumanization of people and groups of people. You think of them as less of people and more of targets for your own amusement. It's a huge problem, really, and it's not just limited to this particular sphere within the idol world.
Yeah. And we can definitely go into this more if but I feel like we talk about this for hours on end.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure everyone's experienced it.
Yeah.
Everybody has at some point in their life experienced being marginalized just because they had glasses or just because they had blonde hair.
Yeah.
Some trait about them for being Asian, so.
Oh yeah.
It all boils down to, and like you said, dehumanizing, not even considering those people to be actual human beings that have feelings, and it's just people being awful.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
We've definitely gone way off topic, like because we started Sashihara graduation all the way to dehumanization.
Yeah. All right, well, so that'll be a wrap for today's episode. Aura, why don't you go ahead and fire off with the birthdays?
Yeah, so we have a pretty long list compared to last week. So without further ado, I'll just start with the birthdays. So on February 3rd, we had birthdays for Super Juniors Chaeyeon, NCT's. That's it for the 3rd, and then for the 5th, we have NCT's Jisung, Unit's Hyunju, and we have IZ*ONE's Minju. For the 6th, we have TVXQ's Yoonho. For the 7th, we have iKON's Jinhwan. And then the 8th, we have Infinite's Huyeon. And then iKON's Yeonhyung. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of flack for these names. Stray Kids IN. And then for the 9th, we have Zia's Moon Jun Young. NCT's Johnny. Soloist Chunghwa. And then since it's Korean time when we record it, Korean time is the 10th, we have A-Pink's Nayeon, as well as SNSD Soo Young, Red Velvet's Shogi, and Luna's Kim Lip. Oh, before I forget, Super Junior's Jiwon too.
All right, we'll leave it at that, folks. We'll see you next time for next week's episode of Idol Stan Nation.
All
This
right.
is Jihoon signing off.
And this is Oda. Peace.
Bye.